What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Deep Dig of Sports Pod. We are back, unlike a Miami quarterback that gets a little bit of a head knock to him. I'm your host, Drew. My other host over there.
What's up? It's D. If you're watching us on YouTube, feel free to like and subscribe. Hit some comments, and we'll go ahead and answer back. If you're listening on audio, feel free to follow us on any streaming platform. If you're on Apple iTunes or Apple Podcasts, go ahead and leave us a 5-star rating. That'd be nice. How's everything going today?
Check us out. Everything's good. I got my Arizona. Ate some hot Cheetos. Feeling great about the. I mean, I feel de-stressed because this 49ers team has won a game easily. I don't know how you're feeling, but I feel great.
Doesn't it just feel like a weight is lifted off your shoulders and it's like, all right, now we can go through with the rest of this week. Fuck yeah. The Niners actually took care of business and they looked good. What would be your, let's go ahead and go through your initial reaction from the game. What did you like? What didn't you like? Let's walk through that.
I mean, off top, the run game got going this game. And I think that was really the pivotal stat in this game was our Jeff Wilson looking good. Tevin Coleman back to his Tevin Coleman abusing Panthers ways. And then the defense obviously continued to dominate. Manuel Mosley with a great pick 6 touchdown before his injury. Heartbreaking. There was a couple guys banged up this game, but we showed some great depth on this defense already. And we just got to see if we can keep that going. What was your off tops first takes after watching that game?
Dude, I loved it. So I think it was an all around button down performance. Did you see that Baldy breakdown where he's breaking down how the D line was getting after Baker Mayfield?
Kevin Givens.
Yes. And so as he was showing it, what really struck me was at the end when he was showing, hey, when you see this is when guys are just clicking. And it was all the D line just celebrating the sack, even though it was someone else that got it. The whole D line was on the ground, going crazy. They were hugging each other. That's basically what I'm feeling as far as the rest of this week and the rest of the season. I'm very, very optimistic moving forward. It feels really good to see a dominant win where you just come in, buckle down, take care of business, get the hell out of there.
Yeah, and despite the D line getting banged up, they look good. And then you want to look at the linebacking core. Dre Greenlaw earning his money, looking great.
Another double-digit tackle game for Greenlaw. He was all over the place, dude.
I saw somewhere, I think they said he's on pace for 150 tackles this year. Solo. So this guy definitely worth the money. I've been banging the drum saying that this guy's real, that we needed to re-sign him, and I'm glad I was right. Yeah, Can't wait for Al-Shaair to get back.
But that's one thing I didn't notice was Flanagan Fowles out there too much in replacement duty for Azeez Al-Shaair. I saw that they actually commented on it. They were saying that they were just running 2 backers the majority of the game, which is, it obviously worked. D'Amico Ryans is putting in work with this defense. They are looking like, I would go ahead and say, the best defense in the league.
I'd give them that. They're looking. The difference I see between a Robert Saleh defense and D'Amico Ryans defense. D'Amico Ryans is aggressive, nonstop. This guy's throwing stuff at the offense, and he's sending guys. They're flying to the ball, man. Dre Greenlaw, they're bouncing out these runs because they can't get anything in the middle. And then here comes Dre Greenlaw flying to the edges. Here comes our corners flying to the edges. And these guys I give them props for picking up a lot of secondary players who can tackle and who like to hit.
Yeah, it's legitimately gets them pumped up. And I know all right, so Greenlaw does have some bonehead in him. What was it? The Christian McCaffrey where he was just holding him down at the end of the half. It's come on, dude. But you put up with that stuff because these guys just get so pumped up. And yeah, there's going to be mistakes here and there. Hopefully it's not a mistake that bites you in the ass, but you can deal with that stuff when this guy's over here making 10, 11 tackles a game.
Yeah, and I think we touched on this last week where we were saying that nothing the Panthers do really scared us going into this
Mm-mm.
game. And I think we were proven right where I think DJ Moore, right?
DJ Moore. Yep.
He had a couple catches, didn't really get anything going. Robbie, I think, had a deep ball. Uh, Other than that, Baker really struggled against us. He didn't feel comfortable in the pocket, and he doesn't have the speed to just get away from us. I seen him try to run a couple times, and he just gets down immediately because there's nowhere to go.
Yeah, and it was something we were talking about it before the game on Sunday, and we were talking about sacks, and I was like, I don't know how much like pressure the 49ers defense is going to get. Before this game, the Panthers had only given up like 6 sacks on the entire season. So it's like, oh, well, maybe their offensive line is like, actually doing really well. I mean, the 49ers had 6 sacks in this game alone, and that was without Nick Bosa for the majority of the game. That was without Eric Armstead and without Javon Kinlaw. Imagine if those guys were in there, it'd be a hit fest all day.
Yeah, it gets to a certain point where I think you look at it like how Cooper Rush is getting looked at right now, where the starter is out and these backups are playing so good. You start to wonder, should these guys like be our starter going forward? Like, how good are these guys in the middle? Like Givens, are we gonna bench him for Kinlaw when Kinlaw gets back? I don't know. I feel like right now, if he keeps playing this way, I'd rather roll with Givens and just keep Kinlaw as a rotation guy.
But I also think that's you can only do it for a couple of games. You know what I mean? It's like Cooper Rush, like everyone's comparing him to Dak, and it's like, okay, well, Dak has done it for how many years now? And he's stayed at this consistent like level. So it's like that's what separates guys. It's like, all right, well, can you do it in short spurts? That's cool. Like, and that's exactly what their role is. Like right now, you're rolling up, you're making 3 mil, you're having fun, you're just pinning your ears back and getting to it. But once it gets to that point where it's like, no, like you got to be in every single down, and behind you, we're not really sure like if we have anything else. So like figure it out. You got to know run protection and how to get around it. You got to know, all right, is this play action? Should I go after the quarterback? Is this going to be a late hit? You got to, know things like that. And so that's where you get between like an every down, everyday starter and the guys who can do it in short spurts. And I'm not going to knock these guys. They're doing really well, but I would much rather see Eric Armstead in there. I would much rather see Javon Kinlaw in there. But these guys are killing it for what they're doing right now. I think if we're going to ask them to do it for the rest of this season, it's going to be, it's going to be a stretch just because you are taxed throughout this entire season,
Yeah, and let's just move on to some more good that we got from this game. The 49ers are in sole possession of first place right now. They're the only 3-2 team in the NFC West. Everyone else is 2-3. How are we feeling about this spot? How are we feeling going forward? And what's up with these other teams?
Dude, it's a whole new world now. So you look, and the Rams aren't as good as everyone thought they were. They got ran by the Bills. The 49ers beat them, and then they get beat by the Cowboys with Cooper Rush. They just don't look as strong, and now you're just getting to see like, hey, this Rams team isn't as deep as people thought. Matt Stafford just refuses to throw it to Allen Robinson. They have the other one, the other smaller receiver. I know what you're thinking. I'm not gonna say it. He's equally skilled. I'm sure he's hardworking. Coach's son.
He's a gym rat.
Yeah, he's a gym rat. But they don't really have a lot of. Yeah, it's like Cooper Kupp is that offense. They don't really stick to the run game at all. Like, I'm glad I'm not a Cam Akers like fantasy owner because he's not really getting a lot of production. So then you look at the defensive side. The defense isn't really, holding up their own either because, Matthew Stafford is turning the ball over at a pretty high clip. That's just what he's done his entire career. It's just a real top heavy team. And once you get down to the lower levels, it's like, are these guys really that good?
I mean, they sure have star talent. They have star player names. And if you're a streaker getting onto the field, then they're defending you with all their power, even considering lawsuits. Bobby Wagner hitting that guy on the field.
Yep.
But as far as the other teams is going, it looked like two average to below average teams playing against each other. What did you think about that?
Yeah, you could say that. I think when you look at the Rams, you just know, like, I think there's a Super Bowl hangover. You know what I mean? And they just don't look as electric as they did before. And the Allen Robinson for Bobby Trees, Robert Woods, that like just hasn't added up to what, Robert Woods was for that team. And maybe it's just because, Stafford has to get more accustomed to him and things like that, but it's just not working out, dude.
I don't know if it's so much a Super Bowl hangover as they gambled and they made the wrong plays in free agency. Like they probably should have just found any way to pay Von Miller what he needed to stay, because he's out there looking like old, not old, young
Oh,
Von Miller, old as in like in the past Von Miller.
yeah. Like, I just don't know if the Rams are going to be this powerhouse that everyone is thinking. That's really all I got to say about that. I mean, moving down the list, the Cardinals, they're looking like they're going to be in shambles too. Like, it's looking pretty wild over there.
Yeah, I mean, you go from the Rams, who I feel like have a lack of weapons now. I was never high on Allen Robinson, and so they're always going to Cooper Kupp. And you go to the Cardinals, who everything revolves around Kyler Murray. Every absolute facet of their game is Kyler Murray, and I think we've seen it at end of seasons where how much longer can you scramble around and just chuck deep balls until something hits. And we're starting to see it right now pretty early in the season. They don't have a run game outside of him. That really takes a lot away. And they don't really have like a consistent receiver in that short to intermediate game. I mean,
Yeah.
I think Marquise Brown is playing better than I expected. He's putting up some stats, but really I haven't seen anything crazy out of the receiving core. And they have a lot of guys out there that should be giving good production.
Yeah, I don't know. It's so weird, dude, because now that Matt Rule has been fired, everyone's looking at who's the next guy. And I've been seeing so all over Twitter, everyone's speculating who's going to be the next guy, who's going to be the next guy. Like a couple names keep popping up, and it's Brandon Staley, Ron Rivera, Nathaniel Hackett, and this one is like such a surprise, Cliff Kingsbury. Cliff Kingsbury keeps getting brought up, and it's by Cardinals fans like, yo, what are we doing? Why did we re-sign this guy? This is ridiculous. We shouldn't have signed him. We shouldn't have signed Kyler. It could get pretty ugly pretty fast, considering both of those guys have 5-year deals moving forward.
Yeah, and to me, from the outside looking in, I'm kind of like, what has Cliff Kingsbury done since he came to the league? Yeah, he's gone to playoffs. They've gotten like 10-win seasons, but he hasn't done anything in playoffs. And his main thing is getting a hot start and collapsing at the end of seasons, which if you look at his track record, that's exactly what he's done in college, and he carried it over to the pros. If we're not seeing any progress out of Cliff, as in a playoff win, NFC championship games, why are they keeping him around? Like, this is what the contract extension was for, to be like, hey, don't worry, you're the guy, just be secure, feel secure, and win us games this year. So you don't have that like distraction in the back of your mind. And now it's kind of backfired on their Cardinals organization, because it hasn't been that. And it looks like more and more dysfunction the closer we look with between him and Kyler. And you got JJ Watt, who is an aging player, and
he almost died.
Almost died, and still going out and fighting for this team and crying. And I'm like, JJ, don't do it for this squad, bro. Like, it's not worth it. But yeah, it's just, man, I don't know where this team's gonna be at the end of the season, but I don't think they really would fire him after this year. I think they would want to save a little face and let it go another year.
It's just getting ugly pretty quick, especially considering that they do get out to hot starts and then they fall off the wagon. So they're not even giving Arizona Cardinal fans that hope that, oh, maybe this year they're just going straight to sucking. So it's like, This
especially
all bodes well for the 49ers.
especially in a year where the Rams don't look good, the Seahawks lost their starting quarterback, the 49ers had two quarterbacks that were questionable, and they have injuries all over the place, and you're not dominating this division. Like this, you're the most put together team, like on paper, that should have no distractions, should have no controversies, yet you're not even 3-2 in first place like the Niners are.
You're literally killing JJ Watt. Stop sucking, please. Like, please.
You're killing him.
I'm begging you, Cardinals. Don't do this to him. Don't do this to this man.
Man.
And then the Seahawks just like, hey, they're battling, bro. They're doing way better than I expected. They're staying in games. They're keeping it close. They're respectable. I will give Pete Carroll this. Pete Carroll won. He won out of like him, Russell, like how Brady and Belichick was. It was like, oh, like Brady is on top because he has another Super Bowl, but Belichick actually got the team to the playoffs with a rookie quarterback. Hands down, Pete Carroll won. Russell Wilson looks like he's in shambles. Like he's about to fall. He fell off a cliff. And it's like, all right, well, can he climb back? The Seahawks actually look like they are doing really well. Geno is like in contention for comeback player of the year. He's cook. Everyone's like, let Geno cook. Let Geno cook. And Pete Carroll's eating that shit up because he knows like all Geno wants is, hey, give me some relief with the run game. Let me make a couple throws, and then we'll rely on our defense to keep us in games, and I'll try to strike late while the iron's hot. It's like, this is exactly what Pete Carroll wants. You know what I mean?
Every week that goes by, the Seahawks look better and Russell Wilson looks worse. Like, they just keep getting stronger. If you saw this week, Kenneth Walker finally had his breakout game. And if you get that going now, this rookie running back who can be your every down back and make big plays, and you have Geno over here scrambling and throwing dimes to DK. This defense is playing better without Jamal Adams. If they could have just got rid of him and like got something back out of him, this team would have been way better. But they're making do with what they got, and they're looking pretty good. This week they won, right?
Yeah. I want to say they lost to the Saints.
No, I think they beat the Saints.
They beat the fucking Saints?
No, they lost. They lost.
Yeah, they lost. I was gonna say they lost, but they stayed in it the entire game. They were right there, and that's all you can ask from this team, who everyone thought that they were gonna be the joke of the entire league. Like Broncos fans were shitting on them, like, we got your quarterback. You guys are gonna be trash. They're looking at like they're smelling like roses right now. They're just happy to be where they're at, and if they just stay competitive, they still have a lot of draft capital to work with this offseason. And it's a quarterback draft. Even if you don't want to stick with Geno, hey, you can move off of him, or you draft and stash a guy.
Yeah, and as good as they look, the Niners handled them easily. So what's that tell you about how we're feeling about this division right now? If we can beat the Cardinals, which we've struggled with Kyler, then the division is ours easily. I don't see right now it being such an easy path because I feel like it's inconsistent with this team. And I don't know what Jimmy we're going to get every week. I don't know what Kyle we're going to get every week. But if we can beat the Cardinals and then still beat the Seahawks again, I don't even think we have to win the next Rams game. We'll be in a perfect position to take this division. We're in the driver's seat. So
I think the 49ers win it, and I think they win it fairly easily the rest of the way.
That's a lot to say right now with how this team has looked this season.
Just looking at the matchups, like when they have to go head to head, because we really like kind of know that's what it's going to come down to. Realistically, they're all going to be around the same amount of wins, pretty much within the like 3 wins of each other. Let's go ahead and say that. But I think our record with the division is going to be a lot better than it was last year. I mean, we're already up 2 wins. So I think, again, the Cardinals are not that good. And we're playing them on the back half of the season. A Monday night Mexico City game? Give it to me, bro. Like, let's go.
I'm just not ready to hand them the division yet. because of the injuries and because we have Jimmy G as our quarterback still. I know everyone over here is like riding Jimmy, saying how amazing he is, but I'm
No
still
one,
hurt.
first off,
I'm
no one is
I'm hurt.
saying Jimmy is amazing. I don't think there's
Oh, there's the
anyone.
national media is saying that Jimmy's amazing. Niners fans know, but the national media.
Yeah, but I think he's serviceable. We know what we're gonna get, and I even said this before. We're gonna get a deep playoff run just if he plays the way he played last year.
With the win last week, Kyle Shanahans moves to 46-46. He's a 500 coach. How are we feeling about Kyle so far?
Kyle's tenure so far, I feel good about it. Like I would give it the stamp of approval. Like, would you do it again? Yes, obviously. I mean, coming off the, Chip, Tom Sula, coaches like that we've seen in the past. It's like this is a guy who the rest of the league wants, who we have, who keeps us in the national light, who gets us to the playoffs constantly. Is there things I would change about it? 100% absolutely. Would I have liked him to, evaluate quarterbacks during that Mahomes year? 100% yes. That was a big miss. I think like there are things that you could critique as far as like him as a coach moving forward. But I think that's through the lens of this guy is supposed to be a top 5 coach in the league. If we did a coach draft, I think that he would end up in that top 5. So it's like through that lens, he needs to be a little better. But, as an overall coach, I'm giving him a thumbs up. What about you?
Yeah, I definitely get frustrated with him a lot. He's very inconsistent, hence the 500 record. And you have to have Jimmy G as your quarterback, or he doesn't win, apparently. But all in all, you got to say that he's been a success. I mean, a Super Bowl appearance, NFC Championship game appearance. We've been, one of the most popular teams in the league again. So all in all, guy's been a real big winner for us. I mean, moving forward, if we keep falling short and we keep on rolling with Jimmy, how much longer until the fans really get frustrated? I don't know. I just don't see it. This guy's ever going to want to develop a young quarterback. And I don't think the team wants to trade for a different veteran quarterback who's proven. So we're kind of just stuck where we are. And maybe one year everything falls into place and we do win a Super Bowl with Jimmy. But until then, it's still kind of, he's been great, but we haven't got over that final hill.
Yeah, and I think it's like almost Andy Reid-ish, where a Super Bowl on Kyle's record would have this like resume looking completely different. It'd be like, okay, let's say that we won the Super Bowl last year. It's like now Kyle's barely getting to 500, but he has a Super Bowl ring. So it's like, okay, well, he took a very shitty 49ers team, got them from nothing, from the Brian Hoyer years, all the way up to a Super Bowl. He's drafted Trey Lance, so he has his quarterback of the future. He's been really consistent with Jimmy G, who's just a serviceable guy. His coordinators keep getting hired for head coaching positions, which he's probably going to lose another one this year. So that's all you could really ask for from a guy like Kyle Shanahan is, hey, like, what is your standard of excellence and can you meet it? And he's met it for the most part. We just need that chip to put it over the top to say, like, this is the stamp of approval on his career. And he's still hella young. So if he were to be the 49ers coach for the next 10 years, like, would you feel comfortable with that? 100% yes.
If he wins a Super Bowl, yeah. But if not,
Damn.
then you're like, how much draft picks did we waste on Trey? How much money did we waste on Jimmy? We could have
To the
got
light
who?
of
You know, Patrick Mahomes out there still winning.
through that lens, you're like, well, what the fuck, Kyle? Like Solomon Thomas, Reuben Foster, like, come
If
on,
Trey
bro.
Lance is a bust, then you really, and we don't win a Super Bowl, you really start to look at it as like, we wasted this first round pick, we wasted the number 3 pick, and we traded for it. Like, how many first and second round picks did we lose out on? But then you were like, you always get the caveat of Yeah, well, the 5th round picks are amazing for Kyle. It's like, well, that's good, but we're wasting a lot of money on this 1st round talent. We're 2 steps away from being the Raiders in that department.
Damn. Yo, so I'm gonna go ahead and call you out here. You're a liar. You said there was gonna be no more Trey Lance talk the rest of the season. Bullshit. Boo. Tomato, tomato, tomato. Boo.
I don't give a shit. I'm tired of seeing Jimmy. We got to go back.
But
Well, we're just talking about Kyle's legacy here. So I had to go back into
yes.
the past. I had to go back in the past.
So, I mean, I think this year we have another deep playoff run in us. I don't know if we have a play like a Super Bowl in us, but I think for sure it's going to be a deep playoff push. This defense is special. This run game, once we get Elijah Mitchell back, is going to be special. You know, shout out to Tevin, Too Cold Coleman coming off the street, having an amazing performance. And did you see he was icy out there? He had a chain. Bro, this guy's wild.
He can only play good against Panthers. So
Maybe, you know, let's keep that momentum rolling. It's going to be a revenge game for him going against the Falcons. So, you know, touchdown. If there's a touchdown prop for Tevin Coleman, I'm hitting it. But Kyle, that's one thing about Kyle too. He has his guys. And if you're a Kyle guy, he's going to trust you 100%. He's going to throw you out there no matter what. Look at Tevin Coleman 3 weeks ago, was sitting at home doing nothing. This week, he's scoring touchdowns for the 49ers. So he has his guys. But if you're not a Kyle guy, he will not trust you for the next like 2 years. You have to legitimately prove yourself. Otherwise, you're going to be in the doghouse. Look at Trey Sermon. Trey Sermon just never got that shot again. So it's just, that's one thing that I would change about Kyle is, hey, like be more open, give people a little bit more shots, like have a little bit of a longer leash, you know?
yeah, I wasted a bench spot on my fantasy team on Jordan Mason for 3 weeks because you, Kyle. Fire Kyle.
But obviously, this past week, there was a ton of injuries. So, how are you feeling about the team moving forward?
I'm feeling okay. I mean, the secondary is deeper than it's been in a long time. I mean, if not ever in the Kyle era, because he doesn't invest in secondary players. So we're feeling pretty safe there. Sean Gibson's going to step up like he has been. We got a lot of young guys who could play side corner. We actually did a Twitter poll. I think we had, let me double check this. I think we had 36 votes so far. Who should take the starting spot from Mosley? Jason Verrett, 64%. So the fans want to see Verrett in that spot. Womack was second. I'd like to see maybe a young guy rotated in, but the D line is loaded. No worries there. Nick Bosa, kick your feet up, take a off week because Drake Jackson's coming.
He's coming hard. But yeah, like to go back to who's going to take that spot, I don't know if I 100% like feel comfortable with Jason Verrett stepping into the starting role, putting a lot of eggs in that basket. And I know it's just the Falcons game, but next week we're going against the Chiefs. So it's like, and Emmanuel Mosley's, he's done for the season. He tore his ACL, so he's going to be out. So I think it's a really good opportunity for a young guy to step in there. And if the young guy gets burnt, then we can always just pull him out and put Jason Verrett. But I think we start with a young guy in there. Maybe we move Diamador Lenore to the outside. We bring in Samuel Womack to play that inside because we know he can do it. But I just want to see, maybe even bring in Ambry Thomas. Ambry Thomas is a guy who started for us last year. And towards the end of the year, he was in all of the right positions. I don't know what he did this offseason to get into like either D'Amico's doghouse or Kyle's doghouse. But he's just a guy that just didn't get a lot of opportunity, and it doesn't look like he's going to get it. But, you know, if I had my way, I would really like to see Lenore or Ambry Thomas step up into that second position so we know what we have moving forward, because Emmanuel Mosley is a free agent after this year.
Yeah, and going into this next game where we are banged up, how are we feeling with this matchup coming in with the Falcons? We're gonna play a lot of backups this game. We don't know how the line's gonna look. We don't know who's gonna step in at the corner spot yet. Are we feeling safe against this team that we should beat?
Think this might be a trap game. Trap game, trap game, trap game. It could very much be a trap game because this is the second game on the East Coast. They're going to be staying at the Greenbrier. We know that they love the Greenbrier, West Virginia, but it's a lot to ask with, what's going to look like, a lot of the talent missing from this 49er team. Not sure who's going to play on the D-line again, but you're asking a lot from these guys who were just coming in as specialists, just on passing downs to like really pin their ears back and get after it. Now they have to learn the entire game plan. That's a whole new game. Is Tevin Coleman going to have a revenge game? Is how we feeling as far as the offensive line? Are they going to be able to keep up without Trent Williams? So there's just a lot of question marks. Do I think the 49ers are going to overlook them? I hope not, because I think it's going to be a good bonding experience for the team to stay in a different area, stay all together. It looked like they had a lot of fun in this Panthers game. So maybe this is like the tune-up game that we need in order to move forward with the rest of the season. But it really all comes down to Kyle Shanahan, Jimmy Garoppolo, how those two play.
Yeah, the most unreliable, inconsistent duo in the league, Kyle Shanahan and Garoppolo, hopefully can beat a team that they're supposed to be. That should be the headline of this team's tenure with those guys. But I think we should win. If anything I have been following the Falcons a little bit closely because I had Cordell Patterson on my fantasy team. I mean, I wish he wasn't on the IR, but I'm kind of, I'm torn because if he wasn't on the IR, I would be hyped for this game. Like maybe he'll get some points. But now I'm like, okay, at least the Niners can play great defense and I won't be hurt about it. But Mariota can't throw. That's period. I watched him. This team has played really well. They've been in games, but there's an obvious lack of Mariota throwing the ball. If they can't run the ball consistently, they kind of fold. I think they'll fold against us. Pitts is out. Even when he was playing, he wasn't great. Drake London looks good. I thought their defense looks solid, and they were a bad roughing the passer call away from beating the Buccaneers, or at least having a chance to win. Really controversial call. It was basically like the same tackle that happened on Tua, but this time it was called. So this team, they're no slouch. They're gonna come in and they're gonna fight to the end. But I think just with our defense, the depth, this secondary, I think would be the star of this game against Mariota, who don't feel great about as a passer. If we can just step up and win that matchup, this should be an easy win.
So your opinion, because you've been following the Falcons, more closely than I have. If there was a way for the Falcons to win this game, what would it be?
Jimmy Garoppolo. That's all I gotta say. Jimmy being Jimmy, making a couple bad throws, and then offense being stagnant. And like, don't get me wrong, this Falcons offense can move the ball a little bit. They got a couple good young running backs. Algier, the other guy, I forgot his name. Drake London's out there. I think it's Zacchaeus. Is it Zacchaeus?
The other backup or
the receiver?
Or the receiver. No idea. I don't follow the Falcons at all. So I'm actually surprised that they stay in games. How are they able to do it?
The defense is solid. Mariota's not that bad. He can run, obviously, and every now and then he does make a great throw. But it's just, he's not consistent. I think we saw a stat where one game they were saying how Mariota threw a pick in the next drive. They ran it like 8 times in a row. So that's kind of been like their thing, is like copying Kyle Shanahan. We're going to run the ball 100 times, and hopefully Mariota can make a few throws here and there to get us the win. But I don't know. They just actually look like a solid team. Maybe the coach is good.
Yeah, I think this is not going to be a blowout like we've seen with the Carolina Panthers, because I think this is going to be a game where the 49ers are going to have to try to piece together what's going to work moving forward for that Kansas City Chiefs game. So I think it's going to be a pretty close game, and especially just because the Falcons just kind of stick around. There's one of those teams that like super hard to kill. They're like the cockroaches of the NFL. It's just one of those guys that just stay around, like hover around that, like, oh, okay, we're down by 4. Oh, okay, we're down by 8, but we still got a chance. Like one of those teams. So I think that it's going to be a tougher out, but I think the 49ers are going to look just like in the, knock on wood, the fucking Bears game, where it's like, oh, we look like they're dominating this team. But really, it's actually like, if you look at the scoreboard, it's a close game, you know?
Yeah, and all we hope is just another easy win like we had this past week. But until we get those easy wins and we become consistent with it, then we'll fully believe. We'll fully be on board. But once the rest of the betting lines come out and the props are out, look for our diamond pick of the week. We haven't been able to record this last week, but if you follow us on Twitter, go ahead and link in the description. We were putting them on wax. We tweet out the picks before the game. We won 2 weeks in a row, so we're rolling in the dough right now. YouTube exclusive. Look out for this weekend. Our diamond pick of the week.
We're hot right now. We're up 2. Yeah, now we're 2 and 3, but you know, we're gonna keep this streak alive. We're gonna hit it. This game, we're going big. No, I don't know. Not really. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know
we'll
about
see.
that.
Listen on our video when we drop it on YouTube for that pick. Let's all win some money together. And that's about all we have for you this week. Go and like, comment, subscribe, send this to another 49ers fan, send this to a Falcons fan. Let him hear us say that Mariota's bad. Anything else for them?
Nope. Really appreciate you guys rocking with us. Hit us up on Twitter, all the social medias. We actually just got a Facebook. I don't know how popular we're going to be on Facebook, but just go ahead and hit us up there.
Send this to your grandparents on Facebook. All right. See you guys.
Later.